Donnie, get this. I hate to do it, so you ain't Sam. I hate to do it, so you let go.
What's up, everyone? This is Kendrick Dix. I'm your host. Welcome back to Viral on Connect TV. Today, we're breaking down the major stories that's shaking up the music business. Legendary producer and songwriter Jermaine Dupri has filed a lawsuit against Sony Music, claiming the company owes him more than $18 million in unpaid royalties. First thing first, join me in the conversation, and don't forget to subscribe. Subscribe is caring. Tell a friend, call a friend. Hit that subscribe button if you won't miss a thing here on Viral. If these allegations are proven, this could be one of the biggest royal disputes involving a major record label in recent years. So what exactly going on? According to the lawsuit, JD says Sony Music failed to properly account for royalty payments over a business relationship that spans more than 3 decades. 30 years, wow. He claims that he wasn't paid for everything he was owed for music, and he produced and wrote and controlled through his catalog. The lawsuit reportedly includes claims connected to some of the biggest names in hip-hop and R&B. Those include Kris Kross, Xscape, the Brat, Jagged Edge, Usher, Mariah Carey, Bow Wow, and others who helped shape and define the 1990s and the early 2000s. Which best era to me when you think about it. One of the biggest financial claims involved Kris Kross. Dupri alleged he still owed millions of dollars relating to the group's first 2 albums. Remember Jump? Yeah, I remember this song. The lawsuit also claimed there were significant royalties shortages, including projects by Xscape and the Brat. Now, it's important to point out that these are allegations made in the lawsuit. As now, Sony Music has not spent publicly responding in court to these specific claims. That means that the legal process is just getting started. Both sides will have an opportunity to present evidence. This case also shines a spotlight on a much larger issue in the music industry: artist producer royalties. For decades, musicians like Michael Jackson, Prince, and a host of others had argued that complicated contracts, accounting practices, and changing distribution methods have made it difficult to know whether they was receiving every dollar they earned. Wow. Let's hear from our very own Bob Evans. Bob, can you break it down what's going on with JD, and can you tie that into a lot of others? Let's see what you had to say.
This is Bob Evans with Viral, and tonight we've got a major story from the music industry. Legendary producer Jermaine Dupri has filed a lawsuit against Sony Music, claiming the company owes him more than $18 million in unpaid royalties. The lawsuit alleges that royalty payments were underreported over several decades and names music connected to artists including Kris Kross, Xscape, Brat, Jagged Edge, Usher, Mariah Carey, and Bow Wow. Sony Music has not yet publicly responded to the allegations, and the case is expected to move through the courts in the coming months. Could this lawsuit change how royalty payments are handled across the music business? We'll continue following every development. I'm Bob Evans, and you're watching Viral on Connect TV.
All right, as streaming becomes more dominant way people listen to music, the royalty dispute have even become more common. Producers, songwriters, and artists continue to challenge the record labels over how revenue is calculated and distributed. Jermaine Dupri has been one of the most influential figures in music for more than 30 years. He had helped launch the careers of platinum-selling artists and produced countless hits. That's why this lawsuit is attracting so much attention across the entertainment industry. If Dupri wins, this case could encourage other producers and artists to take a closer look at their royalty statements, and also could put additional pressure on record labels to prove transparency when it comes to royalty accounting. let's hear what you people had to say. Let's hear a little bit what you had to say on what people say about JD's won this lawsuit against Sony Music.
A wise artist once said, the only way a record company pays you if they owe you a lot of money is to audit and sue them. Jermaine Dupri has filed an $18 million lawsuit against Sony Music, claiming So Def was underpaid royalties across some of the biggest records in hip-hop history. We're talking Kris Kross, Xscape, the Brat, Bow Wow, Jagged Edge, Usher, decades of music and tens of millions of records sold. According to the lawsuit, this isn't just about accounting mistakes. The claim is that once questions were raised, royalty statements were allegedly changed. Now, if that's proven, this case becomes a lot more than missing money. And it's a bigger lesson. People think that once a record goes platinum, the business is over. It's not. The business starts the day the record comes out, and it can last for decades. I've said this before, your intellectual property is only as valuable as your ability to audit and protect it. Whether you're an independent artist or one of the biggest producers in music history, you have to know your contracts, know your royalty streams, and make sure the numbers add up. This isn't just a Jermaine Dupri fight. It's another reminder that in the music business, ownership is important. But accounting? Oh, that's everything. Story developing.
He's like, we going to court, man. What you talking about?
This is insane. Now, Jermaine has worked on a lot of people's albums. He was the producers of the 90s and early 2000s, I would say. What two albums are at the center of this lawsuit?
So specifically, the Brat's first album, Functified, and then Xscape's first album as well. That's the one that has like Just Kicking It and all that.
I think Kris Kross had some albums that were at the center of this too.
It's to the point where damn near every artist or project that you know Jermaine Dupri to be a part of, Sony took a piece of it. We're talking Usher, we're talking about Mariah, you mentioned Kris Kross, his own albums, even Jagged Edge, like the debut one in '97. They were skimming out some money. So we know, or at least I know Jermaine to be about his money and all that. So I believe him, man. Go get your money.
Mike, isn't it unfortunate? I feel like black people in the music industry are always getting like screwed over. Do you not feel that way? No matter what genre of music it is.
Yeah, and I feel like that's intentional.
Yeah, agreed.
And correct me, I feel like we had a conversation about this one time too. Was it Dionne Warwick? Like, yeah, she was having.
Which producer is suing Sony Music Group? Let's see how much you know about this lawsuit. How much money is Jermaine Dupri seeking in the lawsuit against Sony?
18 mil.
In which court was the lawsuit filed?
Hatton Federal Court.
You are correct. How long was the span of Jermaine and Sony's business relationship?
32 years.
How much in producer royalties did Sony withhold from the Brat's album?
It was over $1 million.
How much gross revenue did Jermaine generate over 3 decades?
Over 200 mil.
That is insane. Kelly got all 5 of those questions correct, racking up an extra 400 points, sitting up there with 800 in total. Why is Jermaine suing Sony?
Whenever you get into any sort of business dealings, you should be going through the books, checking things out, because as we see, this has been accumulating since they first started in the 90s, okay? So Jermaine Dupri was basically going back on the books, and he felt like he was getting shortchanged out of some money. Call an audit in, they're going through everything, and it seems like Sony on the back end allegedly was, number one, not giving the correct payments to Jermaine Dupri and So Def. They were also allegedly forging some of the checks as well, giving them less money than what they deserve. They saw that they were still owed a vast amount of money, as we mentioned earlier, over $1 million on some, and they didn't really receive any money from it. So he's like, we going to court, man. What you talking?
Aye, Jermaine Dupri is suing Sony Music for over $18 million. And some of that money has been sitting since 1993. That's not a misprint. That's over 3 decades. And this money did not surface until someone finally decided to pay for an audit. This is a 32-year relationship with Sony Music. One that the lawsuit says projects produced over $200 million in gross revenue. So if someone at that level can allegedly have their royalties go unreported for decades, the system isn't meant to flag you. So whether you're a producer or artist building your own catalog, you need to make sure that audit rights are in every deal. Know your own records. Keep your streamings, your mechanical royalties, your sync data, anything that you can get your hands on. Keep a reoccurring audit on your calendar, not just one time. And also know what account your royalties are routing through. If you've never audited your own deal, would you even know that money is missing? Tell me below.
Good morning, family. It's back. We're talking about pay your bills. Starting on Monday between 9 and 5, we are giving you a chance to win $1,000 every single hour. And there's nothing like being able to pay off your bills between 9 and 5. You're going to hear a keyword at the top of the hour. And when you hear it, go right to our website at WDASFM.com. Type it in, your shot, $1,000. Pay your bills. It's back. Producer Jermaine Dupri. We know his music from Mariah Carey to Usher, Xscape, Kris Kross. He is suing Sony Music for $18 million, saying he never got his correct royalties. Now, Jermaine Dupri been doing this for a minute, and he is suing $18 million. How many of you remember Kris Kross? They'd wear the clothes on backwards. He's been doing his thing for a long time. Will he get his money? Well, singer Patti LaBelle is going to be everywhere. Tomorrow night, it's the start of the Dell Music Summer Season. You got Patti LaBelle, Pieces of a Dream, celebrating 50 years in the music business. Grover Washington Jr. discovered them when they were very young. We got Avery Sunshine. We got Jeff Bradshaw. We're going to have some fun. Patti LaBelle is also singing the national anthem next week. Major League Baseball All-Star Game at Citizens Bank Park. It's been 30 years since we've hosted an All-Star Game, and she's doing the national anthem. And Jennifer Hudson is going to be doing America the Beautiful.
Let's talk about Jermaine Dupri and So Def. So there was a lawsuit that was filed on July 6th. I received it last night. Jermaine Dupri, So Def Recordings, and So Def Productions is suing Sony. They're claiming that Sony spent years failing to pay proper royalties to music tied to Xscape, Brat, Kris Kross, Jagged Edge, Usher, Mariah Carey, Bow Wow, Jaquan, and Bone Crusher. He's actually asking for $18 million. He says that this is like a 32-year-old business relationship that is now going sour. And he's saying that it wasn't just like a mess up or like something that was like a small clerical error, that this is specifically Sony allegedly underreporting royalties and failing to report other royalties at all, and altering like old statements allegedly once money questions started to get louder, and as they started to ask questions. So now he is saying that he is owed this sum of $18 million across all of the music that I just talked about. And I did reach out to Jermaine Dupri's rep for a statement, but it's an ongoing legal litigation, so they're not making any statements right now. But
I completely believe Jermaine Dupri, simply because Jermaine Dupri has been a person who's been on top of his business since day one.
Yeah,
I mean, it's his father. His father's a huge music executive, Michael Malden.
Exactly.
So if Jermaine Dupri says he's owed some money, I'm pretty sure Jermaine Dupri's owed some money.
Yeah, they have to audit it out, find out where everything goes, and he'll get his money.
yeah,
It ain't gonna be that easy, but they're gonna have to audit them out.
But I'm sure that probably came from an audit, maybe. He probably already did an audit, and that's how you got that
it
number.
says in the documents that once questions had begun to be asked because of certain things like different audits and stuff like that, that's when there were certain things that Sony wasn't producing allegedly correctly. Like,
he get his money.
Specifically, I think I just mentioned it. It says once the money questions started to get louder, there were old statements that were being altered once questions started being asked.
You already told me what I needed to know. The audit was already done. You got to run Jermaine Dupri's money.
Altered statements. They did.
According to this lawsuit, and I don't have a statement from Sony at all on this, but
I didn't even know Jaquan was his artist for real.
Oh yeah,
That was like a whole era, yo. Jaquan was. I wonder what
absolutely.
he
Let's not make this messy, Sony.
Yeah.
Okay, it's just business. There's no permanent friends and enemies when it comes to business. Just handle the business.
Yeah, so Jermaine Dupri is asking for a jury trial. He's also asking for the $18 million, at least what I mentioned, interest, attorney fees, and other reliefs that the court will allow for him to recoup from this if it works out in his favor.
JD should definitely get that.
100%.
Yes.
Jermaine Dupri is claiming that Sony has been acting funny with that money for decades, and now he is suing them for at least $18 million. Jermaine Dupri has filed a lawsuit against Sony Music Entertainment, claiming that the company has underpaid So Def Records royalties for decades. Now, according to the lawsuit, an independent audit uncovered millions of dollars in unpaid royalties tied to So Def's legendary catalog. This includes music from artists like Xscape, Brat, Kris Kross, Jagged Edge, Bow Wow, and even projects involving Usher and Mariah Carey. Now, one of the biggest claims is that Sony allegedly failed to properly report certain royalties from Kris Kross recordings for years, with Dupri saying more than $2.2 million is owed from those records alone. So it seems like Sony was possibly doing dirty business for years. The lawsuit also alleges that Sony continued applying old negative balances to artists' accounts, reducing the money So Def should have received. These are all allegations, but if this is true, Sony, pay them that bread. It's that simple. You can't be trying to withhold money from these artists. They work hard. They spent their life doing this, a lot of them. That's not okay.
All right, for now, we will continue to follow this developing story as more court filings become available as Sony Music responds. What do you think? Is it a simple contract dispute, or could this change the way record labels handle royalty payments in the future? Let us know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this breakdown, don't forget to like, subscribe to Connect TV, and turn on notifications so you won't miss a thing on the latest entertainment news. Thanks for watching Viral. I've been your host, Kendrick Dix, saying we'll see you in the next one.